Good evening, everybody. We got 1 minute before we start. 1 minute before we start this thing. Good evening, everybody. It's 9 o'clock, officially Sunday night at 9. Welcome, everybody. Glad to have you here. We're resetting healthy relationships every Sunday night at 9. We get together for about 30 to 40, 50 minutes, and we have discussions on open discussions on relationships and relationship topics. Okay, tonight we have a good one. The Black male and female relationships. Also, tonight's a special night. We have 3 hosts tonight. Myself, Rufus Carpenter, Coach Glenda, and Andre. Andre, our DJ. Hey, Andre, how you doing?
Okay. I'm excited. No, I'm here. DJ Andre is here. Excited to turn up with you guys tonight.
All right. Coach Glenda, say hello.
Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Also, we're celebrating Glenda's 50th birthday. Glenda, 50th birthday. Welcome to that. Welcome, everybody. We welcome everybody here tonight, and we're ready for a great time. We get together again every Sunday night at 9. I'm your host, Rufus Carpenter. And what we do here, the format is just pretend 20 of your girlfriends, you guys are in the living room, and you're having frank, open discussions about relationship. Those things that you always wanted to answer to, and those things that you didn't know how to quite ask. And you never felt you had a safe place to ask those questions. What we're doing with this Sunday night at 9, we're providing you with a safe space. You can talk about anything you want to about relationships. And you don't have to worry about being ridiculed or somebody saying, what the heck did she say? Or he said. That's not it. It's open for you. Now, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Rufus Carpenter again. My way to this relationship background is a little different than most. My relationship training started as a youth in a family of 14. I had 14 siblings, and we lived in a 3-bedroom house with only 1 bathroom. And if you ever shared a bedroom with 4 of your siblings and dealing with the occasional bed partner and never have enough, you know what it is to understand that human connection. Fast forward, I was married 27 years to the same lady. And if you married 27 years, you learn a thing or two about trust, commitment, relationships, and compromise, and what it takes to have a deep connection. And that's something that have really stuck with me today. But my journey didn't stop there. My journey continued with the United States Army. In the United States Army, I was trained as a race relation leader, where I had the responsibility of talking about and investigating all relationship issues within my unit. So my background is pretty diverse, and I'm very comfortable talking about tonight's subject. Again, tonight's subject is Black male and female relationships. I gotta start first by saying, I gotta ask somebody in the audience, what comes to mind when I say the phrase Black male and Black female relationships? What comes to mind? Let's start out there. Will you want to start out, Coach Glenda, when I say that? What comes to mind, Coach Glenda, when I say the phrase Black male and Black female relationships?
Well, what comes to mind for me is that most of them are, they're one-sided, they're dysfunctional. So in my personal opinion, that most Black male and female relationships, there's always something missing. They're rarely compatible. It's always someone coming up with the short end of the stick in those relationships. You know, if you have one that is willing to give more and the other one just sitting back taking all the time, it's not a balanced relationship. That's just my interpretation on the Black man and female relationship.
Okay, some great thoughts. Let me get some more before we go any further. Okay, Annette, Annette, hi, welcome aboard tonight, Annette. When I say the phrase black male and black female relationships, what are some of the things come to your mind?
Good evening. What comes to my mind is adventure when you say it, because I find that black male and female, they go on, they venture. I when I see them in relationships and know them in relationships, they're always laughing and it seems like they're having a good time. I don't think they really pretty much air their dirty laundry out in public. In public, they show a happiness. That's what comes to my mind.
Okay, good deal. Good. Let's ask someone else. Cheryl, when I hear the phrase black male and black female relationships, what come to your mind?
I would say black male and female relationships would be, I guess, togetherness. I think that they would keep their stuff private between the two of them.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. And hey, Carolyn, welcome aboard. Carolyn, welcome. We haven't heard from you in a while. Carolyn,
I'm trying to stay woke.
Okay, I'm gonna keep you woke then. We got some music. Matter of fact, we got DJ Andre who's gonna play some music, and we'll get a chance to dance and have a great time. Tonight is gonna be half a discussion and half party. So you're at the right time. You're not gonna have a problem staying awake tonight. Trust me.
Okay.
Right. When I say the phrase black male and black female relationships, what comes to your mind?
A man and woman that can get along very well together, that can discuss stuff and work together and become one in a relationship, that respects each other's feelings and stuff.
Awesome. One, and respect each other's feelings. Now, Mr. DJ, what are your thoughts, Mr. DJ?
Frank is indeed.
Well, I kind of put it in the chat that I was thinking more. First thing that comes to my mind. Hold on. The first thing that comes to my mind. Hold on. What's that in the background? Hold on.
I think you get the loop.
Hold on. Let me pause there. Okay. First thing that comes to my mind is either I think of Ike and Tina or I think of Barack and Michelle. So I don't necessarily think of a middle for some reason.
Okay. Ike and Tina. You guys had some great examples. You gave great examples. Hey, Felicia, how you doing? Glad to have you here. And the reason why...
Can you have him explain that?
Go ahead. Say that, Carolyn.
Can you have him explain what he just said to Ike and Tina and Michelle and Barack? What do you mean?
Did you hear that, Andre?
Yeah, so basically the question was, when I think of black female-male relationships, the question was what comes to my mind, and I said either they are going to be Ike and Tina, and we know Ike and Tina's backstory, or they're going to be Michelle and Barack, which they have a different backstory. But I've never really
sophistication.
Correct. I've never really seen the middle. Like I know we would love to see the Cosby Show, but I don't know if I've ever seen the Cosby Show.
Okay, I got you.
And the reason why you want to say something, Carolyn, before I start it?
No, I understand what you mean now.
The reason why I brought that out, because our relationships, black male and black female relationships, have been shaped by a lot of different things. And before I got any further, I wanted to see how you viewed it so I know how to proceed. Because there's a lot of forces to working with a relationship. Normally, relationships are forged, and the bond and the connection comes from communication, trust, shared goals, healthy boundaries. And these are the things that most relationships go through. But the black male and female relationship has some other things that kind of erode or sabotage the black female male bond. And that's racism and sexism. A lot of what we feel, and this is why, before I get to that, this is why this Sunday night at 9 is so important, so very important, because nowhere have I seen on the internet anywhere that black men and black women can come together in an open forum and talk openly and honestly with some honest dialogue where nobody's fighting or feuding or fussing against each other. You don't worry about anybody fighting or cussing anybody out.
Right.
You can say how you feel without any repercussion. And that's what this is about. Because our relationships, any relationship between a black male and black female should be for the betterment of the black race and the black family. It should be. A lot of times when you talk about relationship between a black male and black female, a lot of people think it's about sex, it's about hooking up, it's about casual encounters. Some people don't see the long-term effect of having a bond, a relationship, building a family, uplifting a community. That's not always said. So when you gave, I'll go backwards. So Andre, when you gave the term Ike and Tina, we know that story. And a lot of us were raised in that story. I was raised in that story. I was raised where I saw my mom and dad fight weekly. My mom, she defended herself. My dad fought. My mom just did the best she can to keep my dad off of her. And as little kids, me and my sisters and brothers, we'd hold my dad's leg and say, leave my mom alone. And he'd kick us around like little rag dolls. And we were brought that way. And the bad thing about it is the neighbor across the street was the same way. The neighbor on the other side of us was the same way. And our friends, their parents were the same way. So a lot of us thought that was it. We thought that was the way relationships were brought. So when you saw Ike and Tina on the movies and on TV and dramatized, and now rap, when you dramatize some rap things you see now, we're being kind of coached into it again. So when you look at it that way, how do you leave from what you learned as a child, what you see every day on TV? How do you put that aside and love a man or love a woman? How do you open your heart up thinking that somebody can hit you upside the head or you got to defend yourself? How do you do that? You're right, Andre. How do you go through toxic relationships? I'm sure somebody on this call, there's about 8 of us on the call right now. I'm sure at least 1 or 2 of us have been in an abusive relationship where we have been beat, hit, or whatever. Just in this small container right here. So when you look at it that way, there's something that's affecting us. Now, Andre, you said the Michelle and the Barack and the Michelle. That was a great example. They showed the world that black people can love. Black people ain't all about rapping, drinking, acting a fool, going out, hanging out, being stupid. You know, that was good. But if I shared my background, how I was raised, it's entirely different than Michelle and Barack. Now, don't get me wrong. My mom and dad had beautiful moments. They had beautiful times. There are times when we were family and everything was going great. But for some reason, Friday and Saturday night weren't it. Now, Sunday through Thursday, excellent. I'm just sharing some things here, because when you talk about understanding the dynamics of a relationship between a black male and a black female, you've got to realize the forces on the outside that are affecting that. When Glenda gave her example, she said one-sided, dysfunctional. She said that there's something's missing. It's never balanced. Somebody's always come up short. There's a taker in a relationship and a giver.
Right.
Go ahead, Sharon. You want to say something?
Oh, no. I was just messing with the Zoom thing, trying to figure it out. I'm sorry.
Okay. But so when she said that's what society has done to our relationship. That's typical of black relationship now, that's heavily influenced by society. When I say society, we're talking about rap. We're talking about the educational system. We're talking about the job system. We're talking about the church. So when you talk about these things that affect that, and you look at it, wait a minute, you say, wait a minute now, something's wrong. Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. All these things are geared to making sure to erode or sabotage the relationship between and the bond between a black male and a black female. And you said, Rufus, what in the heck are you talking about? We're talking about the relationship of black men and black women. How did all this come into play? Well, I'm glad you asked. If you notice, black men and black males are targeted mostly by the law. They're targeted by so much. They're killed. They're jail incarcerated. They're stereotyped as being shiftless, stereotyped as being poor, ignorant. And you gotta realize this: black women are stereotyped differently. Black women are stereotyped as nurturers.
Mhm.
They're stereotyped as smart. They're stereotyped as someone that can run a household.
We just mature faster than men.
Yeah, but you got to realize something. Is that really it? Or is it that you guys were set up to be that way? So the male, you're giving the male role in a lot of respects. So the male really don't have anything.
That's not true. Most women do allow men to be men. You know, we help them along the way to be better men, but you know, a lot of that stuff derives from your upbringing. And you were saying earlier about you was mentioning something earlier, and I wanted to chime in, but you know how you get in your little teaching mode.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. But a lot of times in relationships, when you think about it, it comes from what you were taught, what you've been seeing as a young child, as you know, as you were growing up around your parents, whether they're married or not. And when you had asked the question, how do you fix that so you won't have that type of relationship in your life, I look at it as, if it makes me feel uncomfortable, if I don't like the way it looks, I don't like the way it smells, it's time to go. Because I can recall from past events, from past relationships or stuff I seen growing up. I know y'all noticed that your mother wasn't happy when she was catching hell from, you know, her husband, your dad, you know, almost every weekend, because you was more or less saying it was always something every weekend. But from Sunday to Thursday, everything was cool. So as a child, in your situation, your scenario, I would think that because you saw all of that going on, that, oh, I'm not gonna do this because I don't want to hear no woman fuss and fight all night, you know, all weekend long. I'm not gonna stay out because I saw that it bothered my mother. I'm not gonna drink because I see how, you know, I see what happens when, you know, my dad drink and how, you know, he, you know, behaved towards my mom. I'm not gonna hit a woman because I know it didn't make my mom feel good. You know, you look at stuff from the outside because you saw how it made the other party feel. Some people get it and some people don't.
Go ahead, Sharon, and now I'll say something after that.
Okay. The statement that Rufus was making as far as that, I kind of agree with Rufus on that base, because the women had to be strong. The black woman had to be strong to hold the household together. And I feel like because the black men were going through so much with society and the whites or their jobs or whatever, they had no choice but to be the way they were. Well, in a way, not no choice, but it was just easier for them to come home and, like you say, beat the wife, or that's how they took out their frustration and their anger. That's my point of view.
Okay. Before we answer what Sharon said, Glenda, what you said about that if you saw it, that would give you the inkling or give you the motivation not to do the bad things you saw. Right. Okay, it was 9 boys in my family. It's only one boy that didn't beat his wife out of the 9. So it's 1-9. So that make you wonder. That make you wonder.
Yeah, I get that. And I do get what both you and Sharon are saying in regards to, you know, the black male's role and their weight is so heavy. The woman has to be so strong, but also a woman they want to feel vulnerable. That's where that vulnerable part comes in. It's nice to know that a woman can take care of the household without a man. But if you want to be the head of the household, I need for you to act and behave that way as well. And you need to be able to do it without putting your hands on me, without drinking and acting, belligerent and, going all out left field and, dragging me through the mud in the process.
Okay, hey everybody on the call. The night is an open mic night. What we want to do, because we're gonna party, we're gonna drop some sounds in a minute. We're gonna start dancing. But before that, I want everybody to understand that tonight is open dialogue. As we delve into the world of black male and black female, we need everybody to anticipate and give your thoughts about it. Because there are some things that's going on there, the dynamics that's really affecting black love in America, that we really need to take offense to, and we really need to start actually working through some of them negative things, and we need to start building each other up. So we can't deal with it unless we confront it and recognize it. Okay? So go ahead, Glenda.
Okay.
I was gonna ask a question, Rufus. So, not trying to rush, but what is the solution from your research, sir?
Well, Cal, I'm glad you mentioned that, and I'm not going to tell you the answer. We're going to talk more about it before we go to that. But Cal State did a study on it, and what they did, they looked at what things that sabotage and derail the bond between black males and black females.
Okay.
And they did a whole study on that. So there are some interesting things, but we ain't got that far yet. We still pulling out we still siphoning some of it out.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
Yes, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So I look at it a little bit differently too, and I'm going to go back and let's go back to slavery. So when we got out of slavery, to me, I don't know if you guys ever heard the term when they say they took the chains from your ankle and your feet and they put it on your brain. So It's like, to me, what they did was they elevated the black woman. So she was working in the office, putting on her lipstick, her makeup and all that, trying to make her feel good. To me, they was trying to build that woman up to degrade her man, to make her feel like her man wasn't worthy enough. He's blue collar. He's getting his hand greasy, working on the car or doing whatever he's doing. He's not doing what she see that white man or whatever doing in the office and all that. So she sort of had in my mind, she sort of had a little, felt like, okay, she's a little above, she's superior to him a little bit. So that caused rift with the man and woman. So the thing to get me is that's where the problem come in at, to me. I think the way I'm Rufus's sister, so the way our parents live with the fighting going on, I know what he's talking about, but I don't think in today's time, if going to come up to today's time, I don't think it's happening like that in households or between a couple. Maybe it is, but I don't feel it is. I think more or less the fact that one is superior than the other. So, I mean, if you don't bring in this much money, you're not going to get my body, or you're not worthy, or whatever. That's what I'm thinking.
All right, Felicia. Go ahead, Felicia. Come on board.
Well, first of all, let me say, I want to say happy birthday, happy 50th birthday to Glenda.
Awesome.
Sorry. And then let me say, I'm like Rufus, I grew up in a household where my mother and father also it was a very abusive relationship, again, but my mother and father left. They grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, during a time when it was doing the segregation, when all of that was going on. So they left Birmingham during a time where all of that was probably in they were in the 50s, probably early 60s, and they moved to New York. And so during that time, my father, it was depression, difficult time getting jobs. And so, and he grew up in a family, it was, basically all men. So very few women. And so it was a pattern of the men in my case, the namesake was Cleveland. And so the Cleveland men were all abusive, to their wives. And so it was a pattern in our household. And so a lot of that was based upon not being able to get a job, not being able to provide for their families, and being head of the household. And so that was the case for my family. My father was feeding 5 children during a time where he was only able to get construction work. And so the stress level for him was, he was a hustler. He wasn't an 8 to 5 kind of guy. So him trying to provide food on his table made additional stress having to feed 5 kids. It wasn't acceptable, but that was just what he did. And, for years, I hated my father for the abuse that he caused my mother, the constant abuse that he, put on her because she worked the job 8 to 5, where he didn't, and he felt that, I guess, because he worked the job that, the insecurity that he wasn't providing set in. And so that created animosity, and so that created the abuse even more. On top of that, he was an alcoholic. So there was more things to that factor that created that hostile environment in our household. And so it puts fear factor. When you got 5 kids, it puts fear factor. When your mother tells you, don't go to sleep before your dad, it puts fear into you, I don't care what level in life, I would never date a man that's abusive. I don't care what if the red flags are there, the red flags are there. I would never in life, and I'm 63, I'll be 63 this year, never in life date a man that's abusive. I've seen it in my uncles, I've seen it in my brother. My brother had 10 kids by various different women, and he was very abusive to all of them, and I have, and that went down to my nephew. So I don't know if it's hereditary or it's just what they have seen and just in growing up in life. But it has just carried on from one generation to another generation. And it's just, I've been single, I've dated and I date, but I would never date a man that's abusive. I try to watch out for red flags. I try to watch out for those things that may tend to show some signs of what I grew up to see. My brother and my father fighting each other because he was hurting my mom. So it's something that, you have to watch out for the signs, because it's something that's just not acceptable. It's tolerated. My mother stayed because she had 5 kids, and her fear factor set in, that fact that she was afraid to leave because she had 5 kids, and don't think for not one day that I was angry with her for not leaving. She stayed with him for almost 50 years, until both of them died, but it is something that, that generation, you don't see it as much this generation, but there's still women out there now in relationship with men that are abusive, and they're afraid to leave for whatever that reason looks like, whether it's their children or whatever. They're afraid to stand on their own. There's several reasons why, but you got to have some independence. Like then they were saying that you got to know your worth and be able to stay, know that you can do it on your own without having that dependence on a man that you can't get out there and fend for yourself, so that's just my take on it.
That's awesome. Hey, Andre, go ahead and cue up some dance music. We need to dance. And after we can finish the dance, give us 2 dance songs, and then we'll come back and answer what she just put out, okay? Come on, Andre. Let's get it, y'all. Come on.
That's an old but goodie. I'm surprised Felicia's not showing her stuff.
Come on now. Let's all celebrate and have a good time.
Sitting in the movie show.
Oh, look at that little dancing going on.
To be a gentleman, oh, you turn me off.
How do I show myself?
That's right.
The camera.
Let me tell you, nasty boys. I don't mean anything.
Click on the camera.
Oh, you nasty boys. Nasty boys. I don't ever change.
Let me see.
I can see it.
Oh, you nasty boys. I don't like no nasty girl. I don't like a nasty food.
Yeah, really well.
The only nasty thing I like is a nasty groove. Will this one do?
So it's some friends. What are you talking about? I didn't talk about you're a fake DJ. You're the main DJ. That's what I'm talking about. The Sharon got lights on in the back. You having a real party in your house?
Raising the roof, girl. Raising the roof.
I know that's right.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Dig, if you will, the picture of you and I engaged in a kiss. The sweat of your body covers me. Can you, my darling?
I think you dance like a white person, Mr. Carpenter. I thought you said you dance like a white person.
He does. He does.
Animals strike curious poses. They feel the heat between me and
Well, I'm Sharon. I'm glad you're sitting down.
Okay.
All right, DJ.
Get back into the subject. We'll come on back one more round. Ooh, she's a freak. Oh, go ahead.
Ow, she's a brick. Ow.
Well, thank y'all.
She's mighty, just letting it all hang out. She's a brick. Ow. I like lady stack, that's a fact. Ain't holding nothing back. Ow, she's a brick. House. Well, put together, everybody knows this is how the story goes. She knows she's got everything that a woman needs.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah. How can she lose with the suit she used? 36, 24, 36. What a winning hand, 'cause she's a brick. Ow.
We run this mother.
He break out with some Beyonce. What's up with that?
You're so orange.
That's what I'm talking about.
We run this mother. Who run the world? Girls. 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 Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run the world? Girls. 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 Some of them men think they freak this like we do, but no, they don't. Make your check come at their neck. Disrespect us, no, they won't.
Oh man, there's something wrong with my life. When I dial my baby's number, click every time. Mr. Telephone Man, there's something wrong with my life. When I dial my baby's number, I get a click every time.
Okay, getting back into the subject now. You guys said a lot, and Felicia, we appreciate the comment you made, which is so on point. Now, since you guys talked, something came to my mind. Black women are more educated than black men. As a matter of fact, black women are some of the highest educated women in the world. Black women, in some cases, make more money than black men. And black women are rising up in corporate faster than black men. So if this is the case, and I'm now as a man, I'm what's that, Dr. Mom or Mama Mom or what's that for a man that stays home and cook and clean? What do they call him?
Mr. Mom?
Yeah, I'm Mr. Mom. I'm Mr. Mom now. So I can't wait you come home. You come home and then you've had a hard day at work. And how does that look in today's households? How does that look? How does the man still feel like a man? Because they got something in a relationship called male, I'm gonna say it right now. I'm trying to get it right. Female energy and male energy in relationships. Sometimes they said the female had masculinity energy. Not that they're gay or anything like that. It's just that they're so dominant in that relationship. They're operating from the masculine energy. A lot of men can't accept that.
I get that. I do, but at the same time, when you communicate with your partner, your spouse, in regards to, since you have a better job than I do, you make more money, the man may stay home and watch the kids, but the house is being taken care of. But at the same time, as long as you're communicating, I'm not understanding why, but I've seen it, why men feel as if they're not as superior, or they don't feel like the head of the household because they're not the breadwinner per se. I mean, if you and your partner communicate like, okay, look, there's no need for you to go out there and work 40 hours a week and we still be struggling, and I stay home, but since I have the education, or my current job, is making more money than you, as long as you communicate and you're on the same page, that's what part of teamwork and relationship is about. Because I know several successful marriages that have fallen in that category. And even when life happened, the male went down, because yet again, the male is portrayed even from the Bible and in today's society as the breadwinner, the head of the household. Even when the male goes down in their health and life happens, sometimes a woman has to step up, and it's good that she still knows how to carry on, to maintain the house and keep up with everything, even though the breadwinner is down. So I really can't see a reason for I can't see how they are justifying the way a man treats a woman based off of him not feeling superior, or he feeling less than a man because, he has to grind a little bit harder than a female does. Because that's a part of being in a relationship and being in a marriage. It's the teamwork and communication. We end for better or for worse, for richer or for poor. And that's why I said in another one of our Zoom calls that I don't look at a man, or I don't date a man based off of how much money he makes an hour. I date them based off of how they treat me. Because sometimes when the money is gone, you never know. If life happens, you become handicapped, you lose a limb, you have a heart attack, you have to start all over.
Correct. Going back to square one.
I remember when I was married, my husband fell from we was on the 3rd floor of our apartment building. He thought it was Spider-Man, and he fell head first. And then we both were working, but he could no longer work for at least 4 or 5 months. So I had to be the breadwinner of the house and take care of him and our 2 babies. But it wasn't like he wasn't mistreating me, and I wasn't mistreating him, because he was no longer, pulling his weight, because I knew that my vows stated for better or for worse, for richer or for poor. So whether he had it or didn't, I still had to make sure I maintained the household. But in some cases, some men feel as if they feel less than a man because they're not the breadwinner, and they feel like they have to keep a woman in her place by, cussing her out, degrading her, putting their hands on her. And there really is no reason for it, because if you love a person, you care about them, and they're holding you down, so they say, y'all are on the same team. You going against the grain, baby.
Audience, how do you feel about a statement she just made? What are your comments about a statement Glenda just made?
Well, for men, it's about pride. It's all about pride. So it's for them. It's a ego and a pride thing. So they're brought up to think about that's their goal is to be able to manage the household and take care of that. So a lot of times, you don't find that. So, and for me, it has been for, and I have not always made the best decision in choosing the right partner for things. You have to look at their potential as well sometimes, it's not going to be their credit score. You got to look at the potential, because people have setbacks. They have setbacks.
Correct.
And
That's
so,
true.
yeah, they have setbacks. Life, that's just life. Life will take you for a turn. And that's just, they have setbacks. So you got to look at the potential. Do they have the potential to be better? Or do you see some potential in them that, so you got to, it's an assessment. Life is an assessment. I just have, it's been a journey, it's a journey, finding the right mate. And sometimes you just got to look and make sure that, you're not going to always, we're told to find someone who's equally yoked. What is that? Is that really, what is that? So we look for that to see that, okay, if they're bringing the same thing to the table that we're bringing to the table, you're not going to always find that.
Right. You won't.
So you gotta reassess that and then see if that person has the potential to do better or be better. If that person can lead you. If my credit score, is in the 800s and somebody's in the 500, you got to look at that to see if the person, can potentially get to where you need to be at. Maybe that person had a setback due to a divorce or something has happened in his lifespan, but does he have the potential to do better?
Right.
Is he a good person overall? So you have to reassess things to see if he can be a potential mate and help you to build together to where you both need to be at, so you got to reassess some things in life, because if not, you're going to end up being alone if you knock down every person who don't meet your needs, so
Right.
that's just
Based
my
off of their income.
based on their income. That's just my take on it.
Right.
Right now, Black children right now, when they go home, 72% of all Black households are only one parent, single parent households. So our children are being raised, majority of our children are being raised with only one parent at the helm. So when we're talking about the relationship between Black males and Black female, that relationship, that's an issue right now. So we talked about most of the people on this call we're probably in that same age bracket. Now, what do we do now to affect the kids that we have and our children? What can we do to make their relationships better between men and women? What some of the things that we can do? How can we turn the tide? Because a lot of times right now, like I said when I first started, a lot of times people are coming together. Relationships are for hookups and for sex, for casual encounters.
Correct. That's true.
Our families aren't getting better because of that. They're only getting worse.
Exactly.
So when we talk about relationships and the relationship, the bond, especially the bond of a romantic bond between the male and the female, there are some things that we have to consider. And Glenda, you asked me earlier, how do we fix that?
Correct.
The number one key is honest and open communication. Honest, open communication. Because right now, there's things that affect all relationships, whether it's Black, white, Chinese, or whatever. But Black people have a harder time with relationships now than the other races, because society, and I'm gonna say this, and it might get me in trouble, and I gotta say it. I promise I wasn't gonna say it, but I gotta say it. I'm gonna just say racism. I'm not gonna say white supremacy. I'm not even gonna say that. I'm just gonna say racism.
Okay.
Racism has played a major part in the black female and black male relationship. When I told you earlier, it's affect all activities of our life. All activities in our life are educational, economical, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Right now, when I say somebody marriage, and I say Felicia said something about equally yoked. When you say a marriage, what type of contract or what kind of relationship is a marriage? How would you label that? Huh?
It's a commitment.
Okay, what type of commitment? This is funny, and I gotta say it. What what did Tina says? What love's got to do with it?
Exactly.
If you're not economical, if your finances are not in place,
Right.
your marriage ain't gonna happen.
Right, because nobody wants to struggle, and
the marriage ain't gonna happen.
struggling is a stress and a strain.
Yeah, so that's a big part of a marriage or relationship is finances.
Right, but if one, meaning the female, is able to hold the family down for, say, if the husband is, if he's not working, if his career is not supporting the household and you have babies, and you come to agreement with the communication that it's okay for him to stay at home, it should be okay, right?
Yeah, if you both agree, yes.
Yes, and that's what I'm talking about. I mean, but the man should not make the woman feel, like I'm still the head of the household. Try to, throw his sex around like I'm still the man of the household, even though I'm staying home, taking care of the kids, cooking and cleaning. Because that's no different than the woman being at home. It's just that in their marriage and then in their relationship, the woman had to take charge because she was in a better position financially, economically, to carry the household.
Let's talk about that, because I've seen relationships where the woman was set up better to do the relationship better. She was better financially, she was better and more educated, she was more intellectual, better, but she didn't take the role because she didn't want to step on her husband's foot.
I understand that too.
So they suffered because she backed down instead of stepping up.
Right, and I've seen that too. But see, that apparently there was no communication going on, because why? I mean, they should not have had to suffer. There shouldn't have been a problem. She should have felt comfortable enough to talk to her mate, her partner, her significant other, to say, at this present time, this is the best option for us. And he should have been open-minded and willing to accept that.
Have you ever been this is an open question, anybody can answer. Have you ever been in a romantic relationship where you were afraid or didn't know how to approach your significant other?
About what?
About anything. About what was important to you.
Yes, of course. I know I have.
I have.
Amen.
So, and that's why I brought it up, because a lot of times what seemed easy to discuss and broker, it's not always that way.
I understand that, but because of my age and my past history, the longer you keep stuff to yourself and you restrain from saying stuff and being open and upfront, that's the worst, because that's when you start you are sabotaging your relationship. Because in the back of your mind, say that a divorce or a breakup comes about, and in the back of your mind, in the first maybe 2 weeks, man, I should have said something. It probably wouldn't even end it like this if I would have opened up my mouth. Communication, we've been saying that since the start of Reset. Communication is the key. It's always been the key, even in situations like this. If you hold stuff in, you keep it to yourself and you never express yourself, regardless of if it's gonna hurt the other person's feelings or if they're gonna feel some type of way, you still have to open up your mouth and say something.
I think Felicia said something about her mom. Her mom was in a relationship, and her mom wasn't a great relationship for her mom, but her mom stayed in it.
Right, correct.
Now,
Most women
in
do.
a lot of relationships, sometimes whether either side, whether the male or the female side, they know the relationship they're in. So they much rather stay in the hell they know than the hell they don't know.
I understand that. But Felicia, didn't you say something about who was it that had the regret? Was it your mom or you?
It was me because I didn't understand. I couldn't. As a child, you don't know, why they do what they do. Stay in that abusive relationship. You want to, you don't want to see your mother or father in harm's way. So I didn't want to see my mother for sure. Being beat up, all the time with my father. But when he wasn't drinking, he was an angel. He didn't say, but when he was drinking, he was the devil.
Right.
So.
See now Felicia, now based off of what you experienced and what you had to see and deal with as a child, did it affect you long term as an adult in your future relationships?
Oh, absolutely. You tend to absolutely. You judge people. Absolutely. As an adult, yeah, absolutely. Because I think, it makes it harder to make a conscious choice of finding a soulmate. It makes it harder for you to find a soulmate because you fear trust. You fear of trusting people. You have a hard time trusting and putting yourself or giving yourself wholeheartedly 100% to somebody and to trust someone to lead you, through that journey, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And this is by design. A lot of this isn't just coincidence. A lot of this has been factored in us as a relationship, us as a race of people. There are forces that sabotaging our relationships. And this is how it shows up. These things are only symptoms. Now, we're about ready to wind this down because this subject is something we just want to bring up tonight because we're going to deal with this again. We're not going to deal with it next week, but we're going to deal with this subject again because there's so much more to this than what we brought out tonight. And this is something that's affecting us now and will affect us 50 years from now if we don't get it right.
Correct.
And we may not be the ones to fix it, but we can begin to address it. We can begin to recognize it. We can begin to voice concerns about it. Next week, our topic is going to be, Felicia, you gave us our next week topic. What is equally yoked in marriages and relationship? That's our topic. What is equally yoked? Okay, Andre, you want to dance us out until 10?
Well, before we dance, we definitely I think we have somebody to celebrate. So
yes, I almost forgot. I get caught up in the teaching part.
So I think we're going to go ahead and just hear from Nigeria, I believe. We're going to go all the way to Nigeria and see what we can do.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you today. It's a birthday just for you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you today.
Just how much we love you, and I'm sure you would agree. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. I just never understood how a man who died for good could not have a David Wood.
Is there anybody else have a birthday in this month? Anybody else got a birthday this month? Anybody else online got a birthday this month?
Anyone February birthdays?
Anybody else got a February birthday?
You wanna give it a go? Get you, yeah, yeah, za-za. Get you, yeah, yeah, mocha chocolate, yeah, yeah. Cream lady,
August.
All right, Andre, I got you. I got you.
What? You make me run out of here.
Every time I call, it's the same thing. You got to be on the phone with your lane.
That was the 80s and 90s?
Quit lying, girl. You must think I'm stupid. You're lying, girl.
You owe $27,500.
Her name is Proud Mary.
We just talked about Tina, didn't we?
Every now and then,
Proud Mary.
we kind of like to do things
Oh.
nice and easy.
Eat the cake, anime.
But somehow, we never, ever seem to do nothing.
Thank you, Sharon. Hey, that's my song right there.
That's another oldie.
Hey, I'm an oldie but goodie.
Yeah, I see. Oh, I see. That. Look, I see you, and that's right. She winding down. Almost at 10 o'clock.
Looking back over my years, I guess I shedded some tears. I told myself time and time again, this time I'm gonna win.
Hey.
But another fight, things ain't right. I'm losing again. Takes a fool to lose twice. Start all over again. Think I did.
Thank you, Andre. You made my birthday very special.
Everyone, we enjoy you being here on Sunday night at 9. I know it's late, and I know the majority of people are asleep this time of night, but we are so thankful that you found it in your heart to be a part of this event. As we grow and go, we really appreciate you.
I'm here, baby.
Oh, goodness.
I'm ready, baby. I'm waiting on you.
You okay, Rufus? You okay?
What you preach, girl.
Wait till
Yeah, I know, right?
there's something wrong with me.
You okay? Wait a minute, that's the
Every time I'm alone with you, you keep talking about you loving me. Baby, your foreplay just blows my mind. So why don't we stop all the talking, girl?
Oh. Everybody, it's 9:59. It's been fun. It's been real. We're about ready to end. Again, thank you for being part of this. Glenda, happy birthday. We wish you many, many more. I appreciate everybody showing
But
up.
they're not really gospel music. Because the gospel is the birth, the life, the death, the resurrection. Didn't stop there, right?
I know that.
Glorious day. Well, living, he loved me. Died, he saved me. Buried, he carried my sins far away. Well, then rising, he justified me. Freed me forever. One day he's coming back. Glorious day, everybody say, he loved me, died, he saved me. Glory. Was filled with his praises.
I don't know what you need from God, but I came to tell you it's already yours. Look down your row